It's so easy trying to endlessly complicate this swing, and I guess I'm probably part of that challenge too. Today I want to have a look at what essentially the golf swing is, and an understanding of what the golf swing is can make it much easier to use as a filter when you're thinking about what you might need to do in order to improve your movement. Hi, I'm Peter Knight, and I've created this channel to make playing golf easier for you and easier to understand your swing. So if we look at the swing in its most basic form, it is a complex fine motor skill. So it's not going to be a case of just saying just do this, but there are a few things that we consider as principles. The first of them is that if we consider the golf swing as being a lever system, so my arms or my lead arm and the club are levers, and my wrists are hinge points. So I'm not looking to manipulate the club with my hands and wrists as I go. I'm going to treat them as nice free hinge points. Now, when I move my arms backwards and forwards and my wrists are light, my fingers are closed and there's a reasonable firmness in my fingers, so there's no looseness there. But if I move my arms backwards and forwards, you can see that the club is creating a fishtailing movement. Now that's because the club's moving at a different speed to my arms. My wrists are nice free hinge points. Now as I'm doing that, I've got a little bit of work with my arms, but quite a bit of work with my body. So I'm rotating my body backwards and forwards. So now I've got this rotating body motion, which is helping to move my arms, which then makes that club swing. There is an order to the movement, especially the downswing motion. I've got my body movement leading the movement of my arms and then the club following along last. Now, in this instance, I'm actually creating that motion in both directions. There's a centeredness, even though I can still feel pressure moving from foot to foot. So it's this movement of pressure and the way I apply pressure to the ground that drives the whole thing. So when I set myself up, my balance is pretty even on both feet. As I swing the club away from me, the pressure's increasing on my back foot, my right foot for a right-handed golfer. That's for two reasons. One is I've got the majority of my body weight on body mass over that right foot. The second is I'm actually going to apply a little bit of pressure into the ground through that right foot to stabilize me. If I didn't apply any pressure to the ground and just move my feet across, my body it wouldn't collapse, but it would be almost like it would because I'm not prepared to take that pressure. So as I go back, I'm applying some pressure to the ground very early in the backswing. That helps to drive the turning movement, my pivot movement of my body, which then is going to move my arms and the club to the end of the swing. In the downswing, I'm going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So my arms and the club will move toward the ground. I've got pressure moving to my left with some lateral movement as well. I'm applying pressure into the ground, and that will help to drive the club to the ground. The timing of that's important. As I swing back through the first half of the backswing, I'm applying some pressure to the ground through my back foot. Here's the tricky bit, but it's absolutely critical. When I start my downswing, my body's moving or drifting across to the left. My arms are starting to move down, and then I'm applying pressure to the ground through the left foot. Now all that's occurring through the first half of my downswing. So many players I see, when they swing the club down, their body drops, their arms drop, and then they start applying pressure as the club gets near the ball, and they wonder why they hit the ground behind the ball or hit the top of the ball. So that timing of that pressure is really, really critical. So again, in a nutshell, we've got this movement of pressure driving my pivot movement. My pivot movement is what's moving my arms and the club. And make sure to keep those wrists fairly free so that they're not deliberately creating a hinge, not deliberately unhinging and trying to hit at the ball as you swing down and through. Once you get those central principles down, you'll find that swinging the club becomes much easier. You'll be better balanced, have better rhythm, and hit better shots.